We have an awesome show for you guys today.
The greatest eventer of all time.
Good news for the sport.
Welcome to the John and Rick Show. We are thrilled to have you guys. We've got a big show with Canadian Olympian Mike Winter. He is going to fill us in on all kinds of good stuff. But before we do that, let's check in with Horse Trailer Pros.
Let's do it, John.
Want to advertise on the John and Rick Show? Contact John at 352-875-8622
Or call Rick at 850-879-2649.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
Does your horse struggle with stress, tight muscles, or fatigue? Nupeed USA delivers advanced supplements trusted by riders nationwide. Our magnesium supplement with unique MAH helps reduce anxiety and support muscle relaxation. And for lasting stamina, our L-carnitine builds energy and strength without making horses fizzy. Easy to feed, proven to perform. Support your horse's health and performance today with Nupeed.
Welcome to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are in the Nupeed segment, John. It's a great new sponsor of ours. Scott Adcock believes in our show and brought his great products from Nupeed. Not only magnesium Nupa paste, but also a daily feed supplement that goes in with magnesium. He has a whole line of products at NupeFeedUSA.com. Go there, click on it, do some shopping. I can't go anywhere without our Nupeed paste, and we have all of our horses on Nupeed liquid daily feed. John, how about you?
Yeah, we use Nupeed regularly, and it is a big part of the program, so we appreciate them being part of the podcast. It just feels very natural, actually, which is cool.
Yeah, yep. And go to NupeFeedUSA.com. And again, he has a long line of products, not only for magnesium that helps calm your horse, but he also has things if you have a quiet horse that needs a little zip. He has stuff for that as well. And
I don't have many of those.
I know, right? All FEI legal, at least the products that you would want to use. I think he has the ingredients based and lets you know that it is FEI legal. So there you go. And USEF.
Perfect. Thanks to Nupeed. So, Rick, you are exhausted because you have had a whirlwind trip. You were in Lexington, Kentucky for the Road to the Horse, and Elisa, honestly, like I would like to say awesome, but just saying Elisa probably is more descriptive. So walk us through the weekend, what that trip was like. And just so everybody knows, we are working on getting Elisa here for the podcast. We wish we'd had her this week, but she's just, as we're recording, she's still heading home. So we're going to get that to you guys shortly.
Sure. Yeah. She was in the 2026 Road to the Horse, which is the invitational. They call it the World Championship of Colt Breaking. And Briggs and I have never seen it. Our great friend Tick Maynard has won it 2 years in a row. Sinead and Tick were really sweet. As I was watching Elisa go through its live stream, they were sending me messages, which was very helpful. I had no idea. I knew about the Road to the Horse. I knew about Tick. I watched him do some of the stuff. In a handbasket, what you do is you have 3 days, 3 rounds. And they bring in, this is the second year they brought in, well, the second year from the farm, the ranch, Pitchfork Ranch out of Texas, 3-year-old fillies. They're usually geldings or colts, but this year they used fillies. And they bring in three, probably about 10 to 12. They come in a truck and they come up from Texas, and they've only been handled for shots, picking, doing their feet over the course of 3 years. And pretty much they're out in the range. So Lisa got an invitation spawning over the last, I think, 4 years. And unfortunately, she never could go due to Carolina being on the same weekend. But this time she decided to take the invitation and go. I talked Briggs into going in between. We have Terra Nova coming up, right? So he had to gallop his horses before we left, and we flew in and got up at 1 a.m, got up there. But Elisa really took her time and studied this. There's a lot of rules. There's a lot of things you can do. You have what's called paddock hand, or somebody that assists you on the outside of the paddock. But it's in the big All-Tech Coliseum. It's set up on the day one with 4 round pins. And but before you go to the round pin, you select do a drawing, and you select your filly or colt out of the group of horses that are let in, right? She had one she wanted. She was picked number 4, so she didn't go until the 4th pick. And her little filly that she wanted from day one was still available. So twisted quarter horse name. She calls her Wendy with an I. David O'Connor was a judge. They had 5 judges spawning from the Western to over to David and another rider that they call English. It was interesting, John. It's an hour and a half in a round pen with a horse that's basically never been touched. These judges walk around in between the paddocks. They do the judging. Elisa in round 1 and round 2 was in last place. I didn't quite understand why. She did her magic that she does with Mustangs and other horses. And she was not scored very well. The other people were higher than her. So coming into the 3rd day, it's
you get an hour and a half each day.
Each day, an hour and a half for the first 2 rounds, so that's 3 hours. Then the final round, you have 20 minutes in round pen, and then they have this huge obstacle course where you have things that you go around, like a bending thing with flags on each side they have to walk through, over a bridge, over a tarp, jump over some jumps, rope a rope, drag a stuffed animal on skis. And I didn't realize this, but in the spawn, this is what I was told. If I was wrong, I'm sorry, everybody out there. I was told in this space of 20 years, nobody has ever completed the obstacle course. So they had to go around some of the obstacles, right?
Right.
Elisa was in 4th place, so she went first on the final day. They also do what's called rail work. So they have to walk, trot, canter each direction. They have to stop. They have to, do a 180 turn, pick up, dismount, mount, pick up their feet. In the course of that, on the rail thing, the little filly spooked and bucked her off. So she hit the ground, but that filly was so in tune with her, she didn't go far. She got back on, she finished that. The obstacle course, from the time you walk out of the round pen, you have 35 minutes to do the rail work and the obstacle course. She went through that thing after she did the rail work. She started the obstacle course, and that little filly did everything. And she had 13 minutes left on the 35-minute clock.
So that's why the video that I saw when she was going over the, like what I call a bridge with the sword, that's what she meant when she said, we got lots of time.
Yeah. She was like done. I mean, the crowd went crazy, and Sinead's going, nobody's ever finished this before. I mean, she just killed it in a text message. I was like, wow. And she was in 4th. She was behind by a lot. So progressing, I was super proud. I mean, I didn't realize exactly how hard it was, but I know her with horses, and I was like, that filly did everything for her. She just went right to it, got it done. There was a little hesitation here and there, but just did it, right? I watched the other ones go. Nobody completed the obstacle course. One guy had to get off and walk his horse through stuff. The girl had trouble, had to skip over things. she had a long way to go to get to win, but she caught up pretty big and was reserve champion. Um, and I still, even though guy that won, he went around 2 obstacles. So it was very cool competition. We were kind of scratching our heads, and David was a judge, David O'Connor, and scored her probably the bottom of the list of all 5 judges. And I didn't quite understand what was going on. But to me, the accumulation of her training over the first 2 days showed on the last day, because her mare was relaxed, did everything, and really went through everything. And she stuck to her guns. She wore a helmet. She wore her riding pants and tall boots. And it's a Western themed competition.
Sure.
So proud of her. She did great. Coming off the second place win at Bruce's Field on her Irish mare. So she's having a year so far.
Yeah, she's having a great year. You should be proud of her. I'm proud of her, and I'm not her dad. So yeah, I think Dad should be pretty proud. So I'd like you to speak to her agent to get her on, please.
I will talk to the agent, and I just want everybody to know out there, Pitchfork Ranch also has a farm in Middleburg, and everybody wanted her. Hold on.
Oh, we got the dogs. You can hit the mute button on your
I know.
mic, and then it won't matter.
Okay, now we're good. It was my son trying to come. I was like, no. Sorry, everybody. Pitchfork Ranch approached her because you can buy the horse, right?
Right.
And I was like, she does not need another horse.
No, she has a lot of horses.
You've got 100,000 people now on social media going, you need to buy the horse.
Right.
Ends up, Pitchfork came to her, and she can talk about it. I think said, we want you to buy the horse. We'll help you do it. So they formed a partnership. She's bringing the mare home.
Of course she is. I knew she was as soon as I saw her riding it this morning on social media. I'm like, she's going to buy that horse. There's no doubt about it. I know that girl.
She's a part owner in it. So she does have Pitchfork kind of backing her a bit. And she's going to go to Middleburg and start giving some lessons and clinics for them up there, because they're super impressed with her. So that's
awesome.
Good.
Well, that's exciting. I can't wait to hear more about it from the source herself.
Yep. I'll talk to her agent.
Yeah, thank you. So one thing I just want to make sure we discuss, obviously we said we have Terra Nova coming up, but probably even more important for us to talk about is Carolina just happened. And I don't really know that we need to go through all the results.
It's really easy to do. Tamara Smith.
Yeah, she was unreal, right? And congratulations to Tammy. I think the really interesting thing is how competitive that division was and how great the dressage marks were for everybody. I mean, if you weren't sitting on a 24 to 26, you didn't really have much of a chance in this competition. So you needed to have a good start. And I mean, there were just so many riders that were right there in the 20s, ready to go win this competition. And it makes me excited because it shows the competitiveness of American eventing right now. Like, you need to have a horse that is going to be able to perform on all the days. And
I don't think people want you to tell everybody it's a dressage show.
No, it is not a dressage show, for sure. But if you don't have a horse that's going to be able to score well on that first day, and the thing is, everybody jumped around what is historically a very difficult cross country course. Like
second year for Derek. So, Ian's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, but it was a great, we even found time at being at the Road to the Horse to watch the 4-star go. It was there was problems, and time was an issue. So yeah, I mean, it was built to be challenged and still be a cross country. And, it was the ones that pulled it off and came in the fastest. And Tamara was one of them. Tammy.
Yeah, I mean, we had 4 people on a 24.
I know, crazy.
That's incredible. So congratulations to everybody at Carolina. And
are you doing Terra Nova?
Yeah, I was just gonna say good luck to everybody at Terra Nova, but it seems a little self-serving because I've got 2 in the 4-star at Terra Nova. So fingers crossed.
It's exciting.
I don't know that I'm gonna be on a 24.
Get to go head to head.
Yeah. I don't know that I'll be on a 24 after day 1. And if I'm not, I probably won't be on a 24 then after day 3.
I don't think we'll be on the 24 either. So we're in the same boat. Oh shit.
But I've got two very good horses I'm excited to take there, and they're young and new to the level. So we're excited to be heading down there to Terra Nova and see the track that Alec Lahore has put together and support that event. It'll be super exciting. So, with that said, we are going to take a break. We're going to be right back with Mike Winter from Canada. He's going to tell us all about everything he's got going on over there. So, you guys just hang with us through the break here. Again, big thanks to Nupeed. They are a fabulous product, or they have a fabulous product, and we use it here at our farm. I know Rick and Briggs use it over at theirs. So thank you to Nupeed for that. And we are going to be right back with Mike Winter.
Does your horse struggle with stress, tight muscles, or fatigue? Nupeed USA delivers advanced supplements trusted by riders nationwide. Our magnesium supplement with unique MAH helps reduce anxiety and support muscle relaxation. And for lasting stamina, our L-carnitine builds energy and strength without making horses fizzy. Easy to feed, proven to perform. Support your horse's health and performance today with Nupeed.
I just got back from Magnolia Sands schooling the horses cross country. It is such a useful place to go. If you are here for the winter season and you want to go cross country schooling, Magnolia Sands needs to be on your list. It is awesome, great jumps. You do have to make reservations, so you're going to text 615-414-0781 or send them an email at magnoliasandsfarm@gmail.com. You're going to have a great time.
Equibrew, now available in the USA. It's a live probiotic that you feed daily to your horses. The live microbes go into your horse's gut and cleans up the gut wall, creating a healthy gut system.
Equibrew is an essential part of my feeding program. My horses love to eat it, and it does a really good job of promoting gut health and also good behavior and great performances.
It's something I recommend for all of your horses, no matter what they do in their careers.
It's so affordable, I can use it on all of my horses in the barn, not just my top horses.
Order Equibrew today by going to brickfieldnutrition.com or calling 850-879-2649.
Grant Showalter has over 15 years of equine bodywork and saddle fitting experience. His technique allows him to identify and alleviate tightness in muscles. He uses trigger point massage to release points of restriction. Grant has over a decade of experience fitting and adjusting a wide variety of saddles. His expertise in equine physiology, coupled with a thorough understanding of the importance of a properly fitted saddle, allows him to quickly identify and correct any balance issues. Grant can also adjust your saddle on site. Grant works on all of my competition horses, and I have noticed a significant improvement in their performance at competitions and their overall way of going. Grant's based in Ocala, Florida year-round, but regularly travels to the surrounding areas. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 484-639-4454.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and we are excited to be joined by our good friend and yours, Michael Winter. Mike, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So before we get into it, we do want to just remind everybody that we are in the Equibrew segment. Thank you to Equibrew for sponsoring this segment with Mike. Equibrew is a great live probiotic. I use it on all of my horses. It is like probably not a fair assessment, but I always consider it to be kombucha for horses. I think it's more than that. But it's great. The horses love eating it. It seems to help them absorb all of the other stuff that we give them. And it's just generally good stuff. So you go to brickfieldnutrition.com, and that is going to hook you up to where you can order it. And Rick and Briggs and the Equibrew elves will get it all packed up for you and shipped off.
That's right, John. Thank you very much for the plug. Brickfieldnutrition.com. It goes right to Shopify. It's very easy to order, and a lot of people are figuring out live probiotics work better than the powder probiotics because they're really not active at all. So there you go.
All right, cool. Well, thank you to Equibrew. So, Mike, I know you had a full day already today. We're sort of just cruising over here, so we appreciate you taking your dinner time to join us. So how you been? How's the things going over there? I know I just saw you recently, but you said you're getting ready for your first event of the season.
Yep. No, everything's going well. I've got I only have a few to event, but all sort of FEI horses having their first runs this year. And then my daughter Amelia, she's got a couple FEI horses also having their first run this year. And then I think, well, for the first time, she'll have a bigger string than me this year. She's got a bunch of new owners, young horses. Yeah, so we're starting off the season, father-daughter team. And then Emma has a dressage horse that's been going all winter and been busy coaching a lot of this British eventing pathway stuff. So, and the agenting, as you know, we guys do over here for clients looking for horses. So, yeah, we're that and building our new farm and doing our barn conversion for our house and everything else we do. It's, just a busy time.
You got a lot going on. And I want to get into all of that. Excuse me. But before we do, I think the big thing I want to make sure we make time for is El Mundo, your Olympic horse. He's doing well. I saw him while I was over there. He looks great. What are the plans for him this spring?
Yeah, I mean, he just narrowly missed out on a top 10 finish at Le Moulin last year, jumping a double clear pretty close to the time. And that set us up and qualified us for the Worlds. So I'm not going to do a long this spring. I'm going to do an OI run. I'm going to do a few 4-star shorts, wait for selection. Hopefully, things go our way and everything, all roads lead to Aachen World Championships.
So with that said, how is Canada set up for the WEGs? You guys have a team spot? Is it individuals? I don't remember.
So, yeah, I mean, we have a full invitation, like I think most, that's just sort of how the worlds work. And yeah, I mean, I think at the moment there's only 2 horses qualified, myself and I think Fluorescent Adolescent with Jesse Phoenix.
Right.
We have a few others that are on the cusp of qualifying, doing their first or reaffirming their 4-star longs this spring. I don't think we have anybody running a 5-star this spring at Kentucky. If I could be wrong, but yeah, I mean, I think if we do send a team, it will be a green enough team, considering the worlds are, full up 5-star competition. And we would be going in probably at most with 2 5-star horses and the rest of the team filled with 4-star horses. Some of those, though, in very capable hands of experienced jockeys like Waylon Roberts, Colleen Loach, people like that. So, I think I'd like to say it's an exciting time. Seems like to be the never-ending transitional time and rebuilding time for Canada. I think just based on us not having massive numbers and, so we, like everybody in this game, are susceptible to injuries and setbacks, and that's extremely impactful when your numbers are so low, and then that drives also low numbers. You do struggle then to push competitiveness because qualified people get to go. So, the bigger countries with more horse rider combinations vying for spots, that drives the competitiveness, I think, which is something we are trying to do, but with a very different dynamic.
So I'm just going to say that what I take from that is that you have predicted a repeat of the 2010 World Championships in Lexington, where Team Canada shocked the world with a medal. So am I fair to say that what you're predicting is a team medal for Canada and an individual for you? That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, that's fine. You don't want to say it because you're being modest.
You know what? I think if we could fundraise based on that predicted outcome, that would be great.
Yeah. I mean, fine. I'm going to predict it. Canada is getting a team medal. You are getting an individual medal. It's too early to say which medal it's going to be, but You're going to do it.
I'll send you some dressage videos, and then you can decide what the hell.
It won't be a dressage competition. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
That's all really exciting. Rick, you got anything?
No, I think it's exciting for Canada, and I know, to Mike's point, I think I talked to uh, Carl the other day, and he was a little disappointed with the injury of his mare, and he's rebuilding his team. So I know y'all are looking to find your way through, but Canada usually is pretty gritty, and I'm sure you will find your way through, Mike, and you're a good one to lead the team. So all the best for the fundraising, because they deserve to get all the money they need to support what they're doing. So good luck.
Yeah, and hopefully for the first time, our fundraising isn't just based on getting horses to the World Championships. I mean, we have a pretty comprehensive program in place right now with Rebecca Howard at the helm and Emily Gilbert as our chair of high performance and manager. So, I mean, we've just introduced strength and conditioning coaching. So we funded that for both top and second tier athletes and under 25s, this remote strength and conditioning coaching. So,
And that's for the riders?
That's for the riders. Yeah, we already fund heart rate monitoring for the horses and that analysis as well. So, I mean, we're operating as if we've got every component covered, and we are, pushing the science, pushing the equi ratings and statistics, pushing the fitness, pushing the coaching, fundraising to create overseas opportunities. I mean, we're doing it all now, and that is, at least the program is in place, that if athletes step up and athletes, improve their results, and also this programming in place hopefully showcases them and also shows potential owners that Canada's worth investing in.
Well, and I will say, I've been paying attention. I always pay attention to everything because I'm a super attentive person. But I've been paying attention to Rebecca coming over, and I think she's done a pretty great job. She seems to me, and I'm kind of curious your thoughts, and I know, I mean, I believe you're pretty pro Rebecca. She's just like the right personality for the job. She's pretty level. She doesn't seem like she gets too up or too down. She just comes in, does her job. She's just very cool and calm. And I was thinking, as I was watching her at Chat Hills, like, she's the right personality that you would want in your corner in the warm up, getting you ready, walking courses with you. I don't think she would get too emotional or worked up. And I think my opinion would be like, she'd be somebody I would value greatly. And she also doesn't give the impression, and this isn't saying that anybody's intentionally done this ever, I don't think, for teams, but I think occasionally riders feel like a pressure they need to ride with whoever that sort of high performance director or coach is. And Rebecca seems pretty laid back about all of that. Like, she's kind of there to help the riders who want it, and no pressure if you don't want it, which I think is, for that position with today's sort of athletes that we have, I think that's a pretty important personality to have.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think the thing is, I ride with Rebecca, but she's also asked me she's been helping me in all three phases. She's asked me to get some different eyes on my dressage to try and see where there could be some more marks. I've done that. She's going to come watch some of those lessons. The thing is, guys, she wants people to get help. And sometimes with Canada, that is a hard thing. People don't always want to seek out coaching. John, you and I have gone back and forth about this, the difference between coaching and skill development coaching, which I think is vital for progress, but also then not so signed up to something that you can't jump a fence without the coach, or can't walk a course without the coach, or that you don't make a move without their okay. You don't do a gallop without their telling you which gallop, or pick studs without that you telling. So I think she strikes that balance very well. I think where you and I are aligned about Rebecca's temperament is also the greatest challenge for her. So I really appreciate her quiet way of questioning things. I'll give the example, like, when I was running slow at all my horse trials, she asked me why. And I said, that's because my horse is strong and that will keep him rideable at the 3-day where I'll go fast. And then she had me look at my results and she goes, yeah, but you also go slow at your 3 days. So that's not really working. So maybe try going fast at the 1 days to normalize going fast and get comfortable going fast. So she has this quiet way of sort of bringing you around to the answer that she wants you to
Sure.
to find. But the greatest challenge with her, because she has that quiet way about her, I think sometimes people see her as unenthusiastic, and I think that is very European of her to be that quiet and thoughtful delivery, where I think the North American style is more enthusiastic and gung-ho. And so her approach maybe is lost on some of the athletes, or they find it that she is lacking enthusiasm, and it's very much the opposite. She really cares, she's thoughtful, she wants to give the right advice, she wants to work with people and wants everyone to improve.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, and I guess the counter for me to that would be like, okay, if you like somebody who's more enthusiastic, that's everybody has their own um, wants and desires for people who help them. But I would rather personally, and I think a lot of people would feel similar to this, I'd rather have her be her genuine self than try to force being enthusiastic if she's just a level-headed, cool, calm person. Like everybody
Absolutely.
leads their own way, right? You got to be who you are.
Yep. And I think it's just that personality, which I'm very used to because I see her more often than they do. And yeah, I think it's her greatest quality, like you're saying about not getting, calm under pressure, calm delivery. Yeah, like I think, yeah, it's her greatest asset, and she should be her genuine self, like you said.
So then the next thing, which you kind of alluded to early on here, was your role with the Canadian team beyond just being Mike Winter, competitor, Olympian, world championship rider, and general awesome jockey. What else are you doing? You're helping with the development side?
Yeah, so I'm the rider rep on high performance along with Shandis. And we drive forward everything that we think represents what the athletes want and need. And that means probably monthly or twice a month conference calls, calls both on our high performance advisory group that I said, like I said, is led by Emily Gilbert, and our our director of high performance, James Hood, along with our selectors, Bonnie Mosser, who you guys all know well, Bruce Mandeville and Bruce Haskell, and Rebecca sits on that as well. And it's just sort of driving all these things forward. And I hope they realize that what we do for them as far as, representing their best interest during criteria, representing their best interest during programming and investment in things like strength and conditioning coaching. Yeah, all things to do high performance, we're the athletes' voices. So yeah, that is an honor for me, really. Just like being chosen for a team or being put on a national training program list. I take all that stuff seriously. I show up camera on for every Zoom call, Teams meeting, read through criteria, read through grant application criteria, making sure that, yeah, everything is as it should be in the eyes of an athlete.
So you're the athlete rep along with Shandis. What are the criteria for being able to be an athlete rep? Because it makes sense to me that you're the athlete rep because you've been competing, but is it the athletes can elect who they want to represent them?
Yeah, I mean, this all happened at a time where Canadian high performance disbanded after the Pan American Games in Lima and following the Olympics COVID Olympics in Tokyo. And you sort of that was without a high perform. The Tokyo Olympics was sort of without a high performance advisory group, and the rebuilding of it was through athlete representatives people put their names forward, people nominated people, there was a voting system, we were voted in. I think generally the athletes are happy with the work we're doing. Shandis, I think, is great. She gives a lot of historical perspective with EC, and she's based in Canada, and you know, actually hearing what those stakeholders have to say. We also do a lot around also Canadian venues. So we've just launched this thing called the Venue Development Fund, where people donate, and tax deductible donations that go towards venues in Canada, like something you guys are really familiar with, so they can implement things like MIM technology for safety, so that they can put in arenas, buy walkie-talkies, put in more parking, put in a water jump, whatever they're looking to do. We basically started up this fund, and Shandis, being in Canada, she has a really good idea of what's going on there as well, so it gives that perspective.
Okay, so sorry, Rick, go ahead.
No, I'm just shaking my head. Yes, go. Keep going. You're doing
Okay,
good.
cool. So Mike, the last thing I want to just talk about in this first segment here is you've got what I mean, I knew you had a nice piece of property and you had a plan for a sort of your own home base, and you always had such a great place every time I went over. Like the previous farm you were at was awesome, and you had such a great cross country schooling facility. So I just couldn't visualize how you were gonna move and improve upon that. And you guys have done it. Like Rick, if you're ever over there and get to stop by Mike and Emma's place, I guess really I should say Emma and Mike's place. You got to check this place out. So it's just outside of Tewksbury, right?
Yep.
And it is, I am telling you, like it's not finished yet. It is, to me, one of probably the top 3 most beautiful training facilities that I think I will ever have seen when it's all done. Like it's just set up perfectly. It's a beautiful barn. It's an awesome show jump ring. You can see where the cross country is going to go. There's going to be a gallop. I guess I've kind of told the story a little bit, but tell us a little bit about this place, Mike, because I was just in awe.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like well, not everybody. I remember Peter Gray saying to me, equestrians aren't great at putting money away for retirement, but buy a farm, that will be your retirement. And that's a pursuit Emma and I have had our entire marriage and raising our kids. We never achieved it in America. We probably would have if we stayed a little longer. But here we are. We bought a piece of property in 2023. In England, it's a challenge. We've got things that are of historical relevance here. We've got a hill fort where people lived 3,000 years ago in the Iron Age, which is a sensitive site on our property. We've got a 16th century barn, which we're converting into a house, which has that's listed and very much in England, which you're seen as the owner of a property, but you're also seen as the steward of it for future generations. So you don't just get to do what you want. You have to protect the habitat and the environment and the animals that live there. If you've got a historical asset like the hill fort we have or the barn we have, you have to protect that and treat it sensitively with approvals and applications and inspections and all this stuff, which I have accidentally become an expert in all this stuff, or as close to an expert as you can be. And and as far as the layout and the vision of the place, I think this is where Emma's very, very talented. She can see a property. We looked at a lot of properties. She can see it. She can visualize it. She can lay it out, understand how it will work, and has that eye and that brain for being able to visualize something on a blank canvas. So, hats off to her for being able to see the potential, and hopefully a pat on the back for me for dealing with all the compliance and applications and hoops that we've had to jump through in getting things across the line.
Well, and also marrying a super intelligent woman who's able to keep all that stuff organized and to have the vision of the property. So, I mean, that's probably the best thing you've done, honestly.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So, um, All right,
She
Mike.
doesn't watch the show, so I can.
I will send her. I'm going to send her just that snippet, actually.
Yeah,
There you
thank
go.
you.
Yeah. All right. So listen, Mike, let's take a break, check in with some of our sponsors. Thank you again to Equibrew for sponsoring this segment. Make sure you guys go check them out at brickfieldnutrition.com. We're going to pause here, and then you've got some other stuff that I think is pretty interesting. We've got a lot of stuff going on in the sport, talking about horse welfare and all of that. And you are one of the people who's, I believe, tried to become a leader in that and moving things forward. And so let's take a break and then we can get into that.
Excellent. Thanks, John. Thanks, Rick.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
One of my favorite things to do is explore the stores at World Equestrian Center here in Ocala, Florida. When I do, I always make sure to stop in at I Love My Horse Equestrian Boutique. I Love My Horse is a one-stop shop for the latest trends in equine gear, protective equipment, show attire, and casual apparel. They're located in Arena 3 at the World Equestrian Center, right beside the Grand Arena. They've got all kinds of great products in the store. The horse shows are underway at WEC and HITS, and the eventing season is going full throttle. So if you forgot something, or if you just want to pick up something you need to start the season, I Love My Horse is the place to go. Already at the events at Majestic Oaks, Rocking Horse, or Ocala? No problem. I Love My Horse has an awesome mobile tack store just for you eventers. Penny and Terry and their team will take care of all of your equine tack and apparel needs.
The annual I Love My Horse Yellow Ducky sale is coming soon, February 20th and 21st. Join us for great sales and refreshments. Choose a yellow duck from the pond to reveal your discount at checkout. Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. Before we get back to Mike, I do just want to take a moment to remind everybody, if you can go onto YouTube, Mike, and subscribe to the John and Rick Show, that is a huge help to us. If you can comment in the comment section, that is a huge help to us. And then also go to your favorite podcast player and give us a 5-star review, preferably, but honestly, we'll take anything. I mean, I'd rather it wasn't like a 1 or a 2, but really, we just need some reviews in there. That helps the podcast get picked up in more places, so we'd appreciate that as well. Rick, are we doing a contest this week?
Well, you know, John, that's always a good question because I always remember at the end and you never remember. So it's good you remembered this time. So, yeah, I think we should. What should the question be?
I think the question should be, what is the name of, is it a town or a village you're in, Mike?
Oh, a town.
All right. What is the name of the town?
Wait. Say town again, because I've never heard your voice like that before. Town.
Town. I actually don't live in the town. That's the closest town. And then there's a village of Twinning, which is the closest village. And then we're in Puckrup, which is like not anything really.
I think we should go.
I like that. I like that one.
You want
Puckrup.
So, okay. Is that the one we're going to go with?
Yeah.
All right. So what we need to know in the comments is the name of the town that Mike and Emma's new farm is actually in, which is Puckrup.
That's not a town. It's not a town.
It's what is it?
I don't know. I think I could have this wrong. I think they call it a hamlet.
Area.
A hamlet?
Yeah.
What is the name of the place that Mike and Emma's, or Emma and Mike's, however you like to do it, new farm is in? And the answer is Puckrup, which is spelled
Puckrup.
Puckrup, or really anything that sounds like that, we're probably going to accept. And then we are going to pick a winner in our next show, which will be the first April show. And that winner will get
a $25 gift certificate to I Love My Horse Boutique. And that will be sent to them as long as they give us an address to send it to.
Right. And Mike, you're exempt from this competition, just so you understand that. Okay. All right. So, Mike, we've been dealing with all of this horse welfare stuff, which I think sometimes is really good and sometimes can be used for evil. It's like the Force. You can have the Jedi side or the Sith side. And I think of you as a Jedi. So just kind of fill us in what you've been doing.
All right. Myself and Emily Gilbert, who I mentioned earlier on High Performance, we have started this venture called Equestrian Global Symmetry. It is we drive education and consulting in social license to operate. And so we've been involved in a lot of putting on symposiums, workshops, webinars, doing consulting within the industry with NSOs, National Sport Organizations. So it's a broad topic, and we have quite a broad reach. And a lot of that begins with people teaching people or educating people on what social license to operate is. And
can I interrupt real quick, just 1 second? Yep. Just, is this something that's done through Equine Canada, or is this an independent thing that you and Emily are doing on your own?
Independent, okay. And Equestrian Canada is a client of ours. So is some of the British eventing pathway programs we've worked with. Yeah, I mean, we've worked with a few different organizations in different capacities. So yeah, it's just our venture. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going.
No, you're okay. Yeah. So yeah, fire away. Any questions about it, or you want me to just?
Yep. No, give us some examples of what your mission statement is for you to get into Canada's equestrian, or your clients when they come to you, say, tell us what it is that you're going to provide them to handle.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good question, Rick. And I think it starts with them understanding what social license to operate is. I think it's one of those things that we all think we know something about. We kind of know it's about horse welfare. We know it's on the radar for the FEI. We know our sport is in jeopardy as far as the Olympic Games. And so basically what we do is we try and show people what social license to operate is in a global context, other industries that have been engaged in social license to operate campaigns, some of which have been successful and some of them have been disastrous. We lay out a framework around the different components of social license to operate and how it is relevant to whether it be a high performance athlete, NSO, national sport organizations, or wider stakeholders in the sport. And so we do that through covering a broad spectrum of social license to operate issues, not just horse welfare. And we also do it through particularly at the high performance level, trying to examine topics that are covered in social license to operate through various lenses. So I'm a high performance. I would consider everybody on this call high performance. We view what we do through a high performance lens, right? So the problem is often being tried to be solved amongst groups of high performance athletes or high performance stakeholders. That's coaches, judges, etc. But the problem is that is not with an understanding of what social license to operate is, because it's not about gaining each other's approval. So social license to operate is an unwritten approval from wider society for any activity or industry to continue to operate. So to do that, we need to examine these topics through what is the wider equestrian community and wider society. So for us, we think We're great at training horses. We're great at taking care of them. We're great at feeding them. We're just great. And we want to educate the rest of the world to understand how great high performance sport is and how we are all leaders, right? Unfortunately, the wider equestrian community for years and decades also believed that us as high performance athletes and high performance stakeholders were the best at training horses and taking care of them. And wider society, these are people that may or may not have had contact with horses, they were sort of indifferent to it unless something came up in the media. And what's happened with the rise of social media is that wider equestrian community, we've lost them. They now are actually the greatest challenge to our social license to operate. They no longer believe high performance sport knows the best about caring for and training horses. Their perception has shifted to high performance sport is about the commoditization of horses. It is about pushing horses to the maximum of their ability for notoriety, social status, fame, whatever, competitive drive. And that's really plays out on social media. When you see the people that are putting the negative comments on, that are putting the sport under fire, these are not people that live in Toronto, New York, London, who have no experience with horses. These are experienced horse people. They are just not in the high performance realm. And so we start looking at topics across the equestrian spectrum, from how we care for horses, how we compete them, our training techniques, our travel, everything we do, not just through our high performance lens, but we try and get people to examine it through multiple lenses, through the wider equestrian community lens, and also from wider society's lens.
So, I mean, I think I wanted to come on here and disagree with you about a lot of this, but actually everything you've said here, I think you're spot on. Like the way I've explained it amongst my friends is we're almost attacking ourselves. But when I say that, I mean horse people, like not high performance, like you're calling them, but like all horse people. You're absolutely right. It's very rare that it's somebody outside of the horse world that's attacking. And
Well,
the problem is I think sometimes it's fair, sometimes it's not. Go ahead, Rick.
yeah, I mean, we have prime examples, obviously, all of us as individuals do. But I mean, I'm to your point, Mike, on those people that make negative comments on what might be posted. I can give an example, and I'm not hesitant to do it. We have a clip, a 20-second clip of Briggs's 14 two-hand mare doing the 4 short at Kentucky. It's a very cool, spot on reel. And majority of the comments are very positive, but we get negative comments, and it's very kind of devastating in some aspects. But the weight of the rider, what kind of tack he's using, what bridle he has on, and it's all people that are knowledgeable, to your point, in the horse world, but then have a misconception of what the reality is for that horse galloping cross country. So my question to you would be, how do you navigate through a social media post that you are posting that then comes in? I mean, it's been viewed. This is the second round that this video has been up. It's up to 180,000 views, 300 comments, all majority of positive. But then you get the attack of the bridle, you get the attack of the saddle, you get the attack of the weight of the rider, and what they're doing. How would you navigate through that with a client?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question, Rick. And that's what we workshop a lot, especially with sort of the under 25 groups that we're doing education with. So not to sort of present the whole thing here, but out of curiosity, John and Rick, why do you have horses in your lives? Why did you start riding? Why do you have horses in your lives?
Do you want to go to John first or me?
John?
Yeah, I have horses in my life because I always have. I found that it was something that I was reasonably good at a young age. I enjoyed being with them. And honestly, they give me purpose every day to go out and enjoy what I do for a job. So basically, I was fortunate enough to be able to take my love of all animals and turn it into a love of horses and make a career out of it so that I
Yeah,
could do what I do.
excellent. What about you, Rick?
Yeah, I mean it's obvious. It's not obvious to a lot of people. I came from a very non-horsey family. I found out very early on that was very in tuned with a horse. And so from the age of like 6, 7, or 8, I'd wander off to a horse stable and do my thing. And back in those days, nobody kept track of the kids because we were all safe and we could get home by the time the light came on in the street. So I developed this really great connection with horses. And I think that just followed through. I had a competitive edge to me, and I started out in barrel racing and poles back in uh, the
Yeah,
Midwest. And
yeah,
as I went through it, Mike, I had kids, and then my kids, I had kids at an early age, and I spread that love to both of them, and one that has taken root really big.
yeah.
And so I think it just carries on to life. Our life now is horses, but we dabble that with trying to make a living as well. So that's why I
You
love
guys have
horses.
great answers and similar to mine. My answer is I always loved animals, which you both said. I love the connection, which you guys have both said. And part of that connection is the unspoken communication with something. And these are the reasons, and also the friends I've made, and the people I've met, and the community around it. And now, if we go and look at our social media, the three of us, I mean, I don't do a lot on social media. How much of what we just said is on our all of what we said is very positive, but how much of that is on our social media? To me, when you look at people's social media, it's competing, it's winning prizes, it's
I mean,
tack and equipment that we are been given by sponsors. And so
mhm,
what
yeah.
ends up happening is, to the wider equestrian community and to the world, we objectify the horse. It's another tool, another commodity, another thing to facilitate competitive goals and outcomes, the pursuit of, gluttonous pursuit of ribbons and rosettes and all these. I'm not saying that's the reality. What I'm saying is, as equestrians, we do a very, very poor job showing the side of us that is really why we do this. And so we workshop in these groups through this and saying, now we're going to build a social media post around these other key elements that are the reasons why we have horses in our lives: enjoying natural spaces and the outdoors, enjoying our friendships and communities and the team building around it, our love of just watching them in the pasture, the retired horses, the young horses, and sort of, so that actually this is called mitigation. The you're mitigating the harm that could come from people perceiving you as using a horse, and that crossing that line between an equine partner and an equine commodity. And we all know it's an equine commodity because we do it as a business, as you both said. But I think what the public and wider equestrian communities are concerned about is that our decision making, whether it be what bit we put in them, whether we carry a whip or not, whether we inject their joints, whatever these decisions are, whether we decide to ride them in draw reins, whatever it is, wider society and wider equestrian communities are concerned that our decision making is led by the commoditization of the horse, the value of the horse, the competitive outcomes, and have actually gravitated away from the reasons why we all said we have horses in our lives. So our job is to reaffirm those things that brought horses into our lives and that we truly value, and project that outwards.
Yeah, I mean, I totally hear you, Mike, and we made that conscious change probably 2 years ago. And we do share, what we do with our horses on a daily basis. We share our decisions for not competing, or,
Yep,
making the choice of not going to the four long at Morven, and the reasons why, and the outlooks of
yep,
what we do with that horse. And you're right. I mean, that all needs to be shared, and we try to be obvious in our, you know, sharing of all the other things that we have at the farm, mares and foals and stallions, and things that we want to establish, not in a monetary way, but in the love of the horse. And so I think you're absolutely right. We need to all get better at doing that.
Yep.
Well, and I believe that this is more what we're talking about is a big picture. What do we as a sport need to do better? Like I always tell the story of the post Clayton made years ago, running out to get Ben a long time out of the field because there was a thunderstorm coming here in Florida. Ben a long time had been retired for 6 or 7 years at that point. He had no value
competition coming.
Yeah, he had no value. He had no value to be sold to make Clayton any money at that point. He was just Clayton's friend that he did a lot of great stuff with and took care of Clayton. And he was the one running out to get it. And it wasn't a posed created videos. One of his students or his spouse grabbed it and got the video, and then they put it out because they thought it was a cool story. I think the point is we need more stuff like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that is what actually sets us apart. I think if you want to see the ultimate commoditization of the horse, you can look at horse racing. Right. Horse racing, just to throw out some numbers, America breeds between 17 and 18,000 racehorses a year. 10,000 thoroughbreds go to slaughter every year, with the average age being 4. So a horse that can't race, that doesn't stay sound, its life means nothing to the owner, the breeder. I'm not saying every one of them, but if you take an industry, it's an industry that is purely focused on money. And so in that, the duty of care of the horse that you bring into the world, the duty of care of the horse that you train, that you ride, we need to show that actually we're more that person, like you said, who goes out and gets their horse out of a thunderstorm, or you're more that person like with Lion King, that horse has a place for life in your paddock, because you take seriously the duty of care of that horse after it no longer is winning you prizes, earning your money, giving you notoriety, all those things. And I think that's important to the public. And that's where I think horse racing, greyhound racing, they've really, really struggled around that duty of care component. And I think they're going to have to at some point address it. I think generally we do a good job of it. We don't showcase it, but we do a good job of it.
Well, and it's interesting though, because you're right. Like I have downtown Harrison sitting down in the corner stall, living like a king. In the stall, funny enough, that Lion King lived in until he was done. That's probably a terrible way to say that, but you know what I mean. Until he was done with this world, and he went on to the galloping in the sky. Exactly. And that horse lived to be almost 30. So now Will has that. That said, I think it is in some ways, and this is okay. I'm more saying this as like to everybody listening, like it's okay. One of the things, if you do social media, you understand that for me, I do social media pretty strictly for my business. It is advertising for my business. And I do it because it's fun, because I do like to showcase my horses. But the videos that do really well are the videos that you're saying commoditize the horse. The videos that people watch and click and get excited about are the videos of the horses schooling cross country, jumping, galloping. I will actually, now that we're talking about this, make a more concerted effort to do the other stuff, but I'm willing to bet that a video of downtown Harrison in his paddock or in his stall hanging out having treats isn't going to get a lot of interest, which maybe that's okay.
But it's interesting because we presented in Canada to Grit, and Amy and Ian Miller were there, and they really latched onto the things we were saying, and they made a shift in their social media to show hacking out as a family, the retired horses, all that stuff. And they actually said they had such an overwhelmingly positive reaction to that. And actually, Ian was actually visibly devastated when we said to him about the wider equestrian community no longer looking up to high performance. And he said, it's been palpable. How do you say that word?
Palpable.
Palpable. But I couldn't put my finger on it. And Amy, the same. Like, it is really an interesting shift. And I think it's come in this last 15 years or so of social media.
Well, it's
Totally
interesting.
agree.
I'm glad we got to talk about it because I'll be honest, when I heard first, and I think everybody watching knows you and I have been friends forever since I was, I think, 19 years old when I moved out to Toronto. Um, and when I heard you were doing this, I was a little nervous because was thinking a little bit like this could be the tail wagging the dog that you're letting happen. Um, but hearing you explain about it, that's a good expression. That makes sense. Don't make a face at me,
Yeah, it's
Rick.
fine. Yeah,
Mike
yeah.
knows what I'm saying. Like letting the point, Rick, so you understand since you look confused because you're sleep deprived, is letting the general public dictate how we should look after our horses. And really, I do believe that we are the experts in how to look after our horses. I think we do an incredibly good job of it. So I get nervous sometimes when we talk about this stuff that like I don't want to be taking direction on how to train a high performance horse from somebody who doesn't have experience with it. But really, I think that's not what you're saying.
It isn't, but it is. Like there is some evolution in what our practices are to come in line with society's expectation. So, for example, wider society does not believe whipping animals is okay. And clearly, we have a problem in our sport of people whipping animals. And so that requires stricter rules, evolved practices. And for example, British show jumping, I think a lot of the federations are taking on this rule where the whip should be used in a different way to encourage the horse forward, not for punishment.
Yep.
And not for venting anger and all these things. And so evolving our practices based on science about what we know. You and I, John, I've evolved from the people who taught me. I can look at how I trained horses 20 years ago and be appalled at myself. Like,
So absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
know, this is the thing is we don't always know what's best. We've all been in a warm up and seen people do horrible things. I've been in lessons and seen people do horrible things. I've taken lessons from people who are looked up to in the sport and told to do horrible things. We are not the best ones because we are driven by competitive outcomes. But if we're willing to evolve, if we're willing to examine ourselves and our practices through another lens, look at ourselves from the outside, there is this hope for the sport. But if we don't do that, I think the writing is kind of on the wall. I don't think Charlotte or, your American guy who, I don't think these are bad apples in isolation. I think this stuff goes on. And I think to deny it is, and not be transparent and not be accountable and not hold each other accountable isn't productive either.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that, just for the record. And I do, but anyway, I think I've explained my concerns initially with it, and I'm glad we get to talk about it. And I will, just to sort of back up what you're saying, like we've talked about the whip rules and you and I don't align perfectly on it, but I will say, I have, through all of this, to your point, I have evolved in how I even train my horses at home. It used to be if a horse stopped at a ditch, you smack it with the stick, stand there until it jumps over the ditch. And I have learned actually, and Rick and I have talked about this, if you take a moment and allow the horse to understand it, there's lots of ways, and we don't need to go into how, but to allow a horse to understand what it is you're asking before applying that pressure of you must go no matter what when I say, I've actually been much more successful. And not only is it a kinder way to train, but in the end, you end up with a horse that is doing its job because it understands what the job is. I think it's probably a reach to say because they love it. I would love to think that they love it. But I think when they understand it, we can talk people as well, when they understand what's expected, they're happier in their job. And so if we can do that work with the horses as we're training them in a way that they understand it rather than trying to train them through fear or pain, for sure, you're going to get a better result. You're going to get a happier horse. And then you're going to go back to what you were saying in the beginning here about why did we get into this in the first place? I don't ride horses because I like to smack them with sticks. I ride horses because I love the smell of a horse and get to pet a horse and hang out with a horse.
Yep, absolutely. And on that whip thing, I mean, we were all handed a whip as youngsters, me at probably 7 or 8 years old. I rode my horse in a riding school up to a stone wall, aqueduct wall in the indoor arena in Canada. It wouldn't jump it, the school horse. And under a coach's supervision, told to hit it on the shoulder, then behind the saddle, then turn my whip up. Then eventually I jumped it. I must have hit that pony 40 times, 45 times. And when it jumped it, the whole lesson, it was a group lesson, erupted in cheers. This is how our relationship with the whip started. And so how we all are sort of like, then as I started to train horses, if it reared, if it napped, if it bucked, if it didn't jump, the whip was the go-to. And I think we all need to examine that and all have our own journey through evolving how and when we use a whip.
I agree with y'all. I'm looking back at my history of my life, and I think John and I have talked about this. I was never a big user of a whip, ever. And over the course of time, I carried a whip. I believe in the whip for encouragement. Have I used it for disobedience? I, once or twice, but not over the course of my life. Did I ever I remember being with somebody that used to do that, and I got very upset. I would go, you shouldn't be doing that. And I think you're right, Mike. We need to find a different way of avenues. And to John's point, you sit there in front of a jump and you want them to go. We also need to come to the realization that we have horses that need to like what they're doing. I think we've talked about that a bit. I've had many horses that have had to change course of their careers. A prime example is I have one that broke my hip at Terra Nova, Ingomar, and he just did not want to gallop around and jump ditch and walls. That horse is a successful equitation horse in Wellington and winning. So I think it's us as horsemen and horsewomen to determine, it's just not, that peg isn't going to fit, that square peg is not going to fit in that round hole. So we need to also not just whip transitions to spurs to the career of the horse and where they're happy to be. So I think we all acknowledge that as well.
And that's a good point, Rick. We do in our workshop, we've got a sort of a checklist where stewardship crosses the line to abuse. So like how every day when you're riding, how you check in, whether it's progressing, whether it's going. And then after every ride, having some self-reflection on how it went. A lot of this is on our Instagram page. We do some like snapshots on a global symmetry, equestrian global symmetry on our Instagram page where people can get an idea of the things we cover. And a lot of those sort of teasers on some of that workshop stuff is there.
So Mike, say that again. If people want to check this all out and sort of, this is a company, correct? So if people want to check this out, where do they go?
Go to our Instagram page, go to Equestrian Global Symmetry.
All right. There you go.
Very good.
We could talk about this forever because it is super interesting stuff. But that said, I think you probably want to go get dinner, and I want to go ride my nice new horse that I got with you. Got Louie here. I'm so excited to talk about loving horses. I bought Rick. You haven't seen him yet. You saw pictures.
No, I'm excited. I like the name.
I've ridden him 3 times now, and I tell you what, he was pretty green when I rode him over there with you, Mike, right? He yesterday hacked out to my ring at the back of my property, walked, trot, and cantered around the ring. I think they kept him going while I was in the middle of trying to get this purchase
she would
done.
have.
I am super appreciative of that, because I just assumed that he was going to get here and be like basically a rebreak, and he is not, and just the sweetest, kindest horse that could be. And he has a buddy he goes out with during the day. And basically what I'm saying is, can we be done? Because I want to go ride my horse.
No, and I'm glad you're happy. That is part of our service, making sure that the sellers stick to what they're doing and the horses arrive in good order to their new owners. So I'm glad that all went smoothly.
He's amazing. So that's going to be my last little plug for you, Mike, is if you guys are making a trip to Europe, make sure you stop in at, what's the name of the town again? Puckup or Puckpal?
It's not a town. It's a hamlet. Puckrup.
It's not a town.
Puckrup. Yeah. Make sure you stop in at Puckrup to Wayfair Air Eventing. Look up Emma and I guess Mike as well. And
a little bit.
They will show you the best horses for really any sport, but certainly event horses is your specialty, and they will show you the best sport horses that you can find. So I've been looking for horses with Mike and Emma for years. You guys make sure you go check them out if you're heading that direction. So
Thank you, guys.
That said, thank you everybody for watching the show. Mike, thank you for coming on. Wish Amelia and Emma good luck at the competitions coming up, and I'll be in touch because I'll keep sending you videos of Louis. We're really excited about him. And thank you everybody for watching.
Yeah.
Rick, do you want to say anything? Because I always sign off and then you say stuff afterward and then I have to redo it.
Just remember, I love my Horse $25 gift certificate. Thanks to Horse Trailer Pros for being our title sponsor. And Mike, thanks for taking the time to come on from your township or your area that you are from. Thank you so much. I'm excited to see your farm. So next time we're over, I'll give you a
Please
ring.
come. Yep. Thank you, guys.
You
I
can
really
sign off
appreciate
now,
the time.
John.
Perfect. All right. So thank you everybody watching.
Here we go, John.
Thank you everybody for watching. We will be back with you in April. We're getting excited because we got badminton and Kentucky coming, and we will have all kinds of previews for that. So until then, we will catch you on the next one. We have an awesome show for you guys today.
The greatest eventer of all time.
Good news for the sport.